Hey guys, welcome back, and also welcome back to part four and the final part in my series of showing my run of Amazing World of DC Comics. Uh, I realize that these videos are probably just going to appeal to just a select few, or just a certain audience that are into comic history or are DC Comics fans, and I don't really expect a lot of people that are just basically Marvel guys to tune in. That's perfectly fine. Everybody's allowed to like what they like and not like what they don't like, and have no problem with that whatsoever. But for those of you that have been interested and are tuning in, glad to welcome you back. And I've got four issues left to show, so we'll get to it. Okay, next issue in line is Amazing World number 15, and this issue focuses on Wonder Woman. And you have a great cover done by Mike Nasser, or Michael Netzer, I guess, as he wants to be called now. Just a great cover, great colors. And on the back, we've got Neil Adams and Dick Giordano. So lots of stuff to like about this one already. Okay, get started. Like I say, it's just full of articles and books that were upcoming at the time, and some unpublished artwork. And just when I first heard about this, I was kind of skeptical. Even as a kid, I was like, well, it's going to be a lot of reading about, it's going to be a lot of propaganda or a bunch of crap that I'm not interested in, because it's a book about comics. But once I actually found out what it was about, and then I received my first issue in the mail, I was just all crazy about it. I just loved every page. Here's on the inside. Here's an article about Inside Amazing World. Your table of contents. Here's an article called Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Wonder Woman Would Probably Make You Terribly Confused. And I guess it goes all into the Golden Age Wonder Woman and the Earth 1, Earth 2. Some more panels from stories probably mentioned in these articles. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but especially for DC fans, these are an invaluable resource for a great era of the Bronze Age DC had, in my opinion anyway. And here we have an article called Superstars of Television, which has some photos of George Reeve, Noel Neill, and cast from the old Superman TV show. Oop. And some great shots from the cast of the Batman TV show. Julie Newmar is Catwoman, my favorite Catwoman. And I continue to be in love with this lady, especially for those of you that have seen the movie McKenna's Gold. You know what I'm talking about. And we have pictures from the Captain Marvel Shazam TV show, Isis, the Wonder Woman TV show. And for those of you that remember, Kathy Lee Crosby actually starred in a made-for-TV movie. She was like a Wonder Woman that had a little bit different look. Maybe she rode a motorcycle, I'm not sure. And something really interesting about this, I was rereading my trade paperback of Infinite Crisis. And there was like a couple pages that George Perez did which showed like all these alternate worlds, and I forget what number the Earth was, but it was like from Earth 462. And if you look really close, you will see Kathy Lee Crosby's version of Wonder Woman in a panel along with Deborah Winger's version of Wonder Girl that actually was in one of the Wonder Woman TV shows. So for you sharp-eyed DC guys, I'm not sure what issue it is of Infinite Crisis, but you'll know which pages I'm talking about. It was like 2 or 3 pages that George Perez did where it portrayed, different Earths, and you'll see Kathy Lee Crosby's version and Deborah Winger's version of Wonder Girl in that panel. So, kind of cool stuff. And speaking of which, there's Deborah Winger as I think she was called Drusilla in the TV show, but it's Wonder Woman's younger sister. But she had a costume like Donna Troy. And there's the lady that portrayed Eddie Candy. Linda Carter all dressed up in chains. Wonder Woman's strangest villains. Dr. Psycho. A bunch of others from the Golden Age. Classic Silver Age villain, Egg Foo. Man, you gotta love the Silver Age. Angle Man, Fireworks Man, Mouse Man, Crimson Centipede, Paper Man. And here's 2 longtime DC guys that drew Wonder Woman for a long time. Drew Flash, I think drew some World's Finest Stories in Silver Age. Did a lot of stuff for Marvel too. Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito. I think Andrew did a lot of work on Spider-Man later on. Some of the artwork. 2 really underrated guys. Have an article about them and some more of their artwork. And you have a gallery of a lot of the different artists that worked on Wonder Woman. H.G. Peters, Don Heck, and Vince Colletta. The aforementioned Andrew and Esposito, Jose Delbo and Vince Colletta, Mike Sekowsky, and Dick Giordano. Nice little 2-page spread there. And of course, you couldn't have a Wonder Woman issue without an article about Linda Carter. And all of you that are around my age, if you didn't have a crush on Linda Carter when you were growing up, there was something wrong with you. Some more shots. Okay. And here is some black and white pencils. 4 pages of a Wonder Woman story that was going to appear in issue 217. I think Dick Dillon actually finished the job, but an artist named John Rosenberger, who did a lot of work on Wonder Woman and the Superman titles in the 70s, I think he had an illness, from what it says here, and the pages were never used. So these are like 4 unused pages that were going to be in a Wonder Woman book. And for those of you that read Wonder Woman in the 70s, she went through her Emma Peel Kung Fu stage, and then she regained her powers, but she wouldn't let herself rejoin the Justice League until she had completed 12 labors. And for 12 issues or so, a different Justice League member would monitor her going through some crisis or some labor. So this was the issue that Green Arrow was going to be monitoring her. Like I say, this art is by John Rosenberger. Elliot Magan was a scripter. Julie Swartz was the editor. But these are reproductions of the pencils that he did for that story. Really nice artwork. Another underrated artist that you never hear much about. And there's the last page, and then reproduced on one page is all 4 pages that Dick Dillon and Vince Coletta did. Big Dick Dillon fan, because I'm a huge JLA guy. But there are the original pages that appeared in that issue, that book. And here's an article on the fabulous females of the DC Universe. See at the top there you have Wonder Woman and looks like Phantom Lady. Down at the bottom we have the original Red Tornado, Ma Hunkel, Hawk Girl, Big Barda. Looks like the Thorn, Beautiful Dreamer, and I think that's Mary, Girl of 1,000 Gimmicks, if I'm not mistaken. Golden Age character. You have more. You have Wonder Girl, Batgirl, Isis, Bullet Girl, Joker's daughter, Bumblebee. And this is the original Joker's daughter. And you always have your section of direct currents. Reproduction of some great covers. Now here's a great little series, little short-lived sci-fi comic called Star Hunters. Really had some good artwork and some great stories in it. And you can be had for practically nothing. I think there's some Rich Buckler artwork in there, Mike Nasser. And I think here's some press for the Superman versus Wonder Woman tabloid edition, Treasury edition, I should say. It's one of the few I don't have. It's and I think it's the Golden Age versions in that story. By Garcia Lopez and Dan Atkins. Great illustration. And another segment of the Legion Outpost. And for those of you that don't follow the Legion or hadn't followed the Legion, you could probably read a lot of this stuff and kind of find out some of the reasons why so many people were crazy about the Legion feature all those years. Here's some more designs, like for some characters that Dave Cockrum was going to use before he left DC Comics. Letters pages. And those of you that didn't know, there was actually a Wonder Woman newspaper strip in the 40s. That's one of the cool things about this magazine. You never knew what you were going to find in between the covers. So, issue 15. And for those of you that haven't seen Batman v Superman yet, Wonder Woman stole the show. Okay, here's a really cool issue. One of my favorite subjects and I guess subject matters to read. The Golden Age. And this is a beautiful, beautiful cover done by Marshall Rogers, who sadly is no longer with us. Did all the great Batman stuff, had a run on Doctor Strange. This is a wraparound cover. Have some great characters. And this is after DC had picked up the quality characters like Black Hawk years ago, and then they picked up characters, I guess, from National Comics, maybe Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. You know, of course, they had Plastic Man for a while, but all these great Golden Age characters. Just a great wraparound cover. And on the inside of the cover, you have a key to all the characters. I'd really like to upgrade this sheet because I've read this from the def, and I think I actually spilt coffee on it a few years ago when I was going through it, so thus the stains, but still complete. Nice article on the roots of the Golden Age. Article on the Freedom Fighters. One of my favorite groups and favorite comics in the 70s. Only lasted 15 issues. I think that bottom panel is it's a black condor, and that's some Lou Fine art. The Ray, Phantom Lady, Human Bomb. More Golden Age articles. Justice Society of America. There's a nice panel. Nice article on Plastic Man. I know we have a lot of Plastic Man fans out there. Garrett, buddy, this one's for you. And an article on the aging the All-Stars. There's a really nice illustration of the JSA by Joe Staton and Bob Layton, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think this two-page spread has ever seen print anywhere else. I might be wrong. Another Staton and Layton masterpiece. The JSA. Now, when they brought back All-Star Comics in the mid-'70s, I just went crazy over it. because I'd read the reprints of the JSA and the old Justice League Giants and the 100-pagers, and then the JSA JLA team-ups. So when this book came back, I think that's a panel from one of the issues done by Wally Wood, actually. There's some more work by Joe Staton. Well, actually, I'm sorry, that might be Rich Buckler, now that I think about it. An illustration of Mr. Terrific, the original. It's really hard for me to not stop and just start reading this stuff again. So, if I linger, you know why. Power Girl and the Huntress. You know, Power Girl was first introduced in All-Star 58 when they resumed the numbering of that book. Article on the Silver Age. Some of the first appearances of Flash and Green Lantern and Atom for DC. We have Flash of Earth 1 and Earth 2. There's the panel when the JLA and the JSA first met. It's from Justice League of America 21. Some Silver Age Hawkman by Kubert. Some more Silver Age JLA by Mike Sekowsky. Some great Silver Age stories of Golden Age characters, Dr. Fate and Hourman from Showcase. It's one of my beloved books. Have Creeper and Green Arrow and looks like Mr. Miracle and some New Gods, maybe. These are some early action figures of some Golden Age characters. Not sure if they're, might be custom made, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think these were ever mass produced or anything. But pretty cool stuff for back in the 70s. And another great article on one of my favorite characters, the Spectre. Murphy Anderson illustrations. And this is Chapter 4 in the Continuing Guide to Confusing Continuity. So I guess even back in the mid-70s, they were trying to explain it. Here you have a Neal Adams panel, the Spectre. Down here, who I thought probably did the best Spectre was Jim Aparo. I love that run of Adventure Comics from 431 to 440. More Legion Outpost. And there was a Superman movie contest. I think a couple lucky young men got to appear in a scene of the movie. Yep. Nice shot of Christopher Reeve of Superman. So there you go, the Golden Age. Okay, the last I've got 2 more issues, but the last issue in the original run was number 17, and this was devoted to the Shazam world, Shazam family, Captain Marvel and company. Great looking cover by Alan Weiss. Have Taki Tawny and Savannah on the back. Another article on Inside the Amazing World. So I can't stress this enough for DC fans, especially DC fans who love the Bronze Age stuff. This is a must for your collection, in my humble opinion. There's some articles on the Wizard, Shazam. I always like this illustration here. I'm not sure who did the art. It's really a cool panel. And I think at this point this was probably a what if thing. What if Superman clashed with Captain Marvel? Of course, we've seen it several times since. But back then, it was a pretty big deal. I know there was an issue of Shazam, and that's before they even designated the Shazam Earth as Earth S, where Lex Luthor actually crossed over into Captain Marvel's universe with Mr. Mind. So that was kind of funny. Stuff you kind of take for granted now, where everybody crosses over with everybody. Was really a big deal back then when you were a kid. And this is an article with editor E. Nelson Bridwell, one of the mainstays of the editorial office for DC for years. And here's a really nice illustration from Don Newton. Article on Mary Marvel. Looks like another great Don Newton illustration. Getting a little dry. Been talking for almost 30 minutes now. Here's a really nice article on Kurt Schaffenberger, who did a lot of the Shazam stuff in the 70s and was a big part of the Superman family of artists. And he did a lot of work for in the Silver Age too for ACG Comics, American Comics Group, for Unknown Worlds and that sort of thing. Here's some examples of Schaffenberger's work. Anybody that's read any of the Superman related books in the Silver Age has seen his art, especially on Lois Lane, Superman family, that sort of thing. There's Kurt with his daughter. And another beautiful two-page spread from 1978 with a lot of the Earth S characters, as they were called back then. There's Spy Smasher and Ibis the Invincible, Bullet Man and Bullet Girl, the Marvel family. I think it's Mr. Scarlet and Pinky, maybe he was called. I might be wrong about that. But just a great double-page spread. Captain Marvel Jr. article. Of course, there had to be an article on the Shazam TV show. There's Captain Marvel and Billy Batson, and I guess the guy that was called the Mentor. I guess in the comics that probably would have been Uncle Dudley. Okay, and there's a picture from the early Captain Marvel serials. There's the second guy that played Captain Marvel, John Davies. Great picture of Otto Oscar Binder, who there was like 1,743 Marvel family tales, and he scripted 986 of them. And here's some sample scripts. There's more photos. The Fawcett family of heroes. And that's the company that published Captain Marvel and all the Shazam characters before DC got the rights, I guess, probably in the 50s. I'm not sure that they won the lawsuit because DC had sued Fawcett Comics, claiming that Captain Marvel was, just like a ripoff of Superman, in which they won the case, and then, later on they bought, all the characters from that company. I'm not sure if it was in the 50s or the 70s when they did that, but anyway, a little bit more history. Bullet Man and Bullet Girl. This is Dick Dillon and Frank McLaughlin. This is from a JLA JSA team up. This is probably it's between issues 135 and 137. I'm not sure which one, but it was a 3-part story where the JLA and the JSA teamed up with the Earth S Heroes. Okay, more letters pages. This is kind of a cool picture. You have Kirk Alyn, the guy that played Superman in the old serials, meeting up with Jackson Bostwick of the Captain Marvel TV show, Shazam. And there you go. Now there was one more special edition of Amazing World DC Comics, and it was celebrating the Super DC Con of '76. So it's in a smaller format, and it's got a little bit of everything in it, just like before, but it's not part of that numbering. This was hard to find too, but this is from 1976. There's just going to be like an all DC convention. This is all about Superman. This is running kind of long, but I'm going to try to get all these in here. Picture of Max Gaines back in 1939. Okay, here's Max Gaines and Shelley Mayer. Some of these pictures already might have been shown in some of the early ones, I'm not sure. There's some iconic covers. There's the wraparound cover from DC 100-page Spectacular #6. Neil Adams wraparound. And here you have a conversation between Superman of Earth 1 and Earth 2, the original Golden Age Superman, and what was called then the Modern Age Superman. See, the Earth 2 got a little gray in his hair. So it was kind of a fun little interview there. Supergirl and Power Girl. And it's just got them trading back and forth with Nelson Bridwell. Here's some of the artists that were on Superman. Joe Shuster, Dick Sprang, Al Plastino, Wayne Boring, Jim Mooney, Kurt Schaffenberger. Nick Carty, and probably my favorite art team on Superman, Kurt Swan and Murphy Anderson. Here you have Neil Adams and Murphy Anderson, actually. You know, Dick Dillon and Joe Giella, Ross Andru and Dick Giorno. I think this is probably from a cover of Action Comics back in the early 70s. Maybe 419, I'm not sure. Some more great articles. Some more Neil Adams artwork from World's Finest. And you have Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel. more panels from some Golden Age stories. Okay, I'm right at 40 minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. Some black and white reprints. How Superman would end the war. Another article on some homemade action figures, or sculptures maybe. And here you have an actual convention program. Article on comic collecting by Paul Kupperberg. And here's a reprint of a Silver Age Superman story. Okay, Costume Party Capers. I guess that stories concerning maybe Superman and Batman's costumes. It's been a while since I've read this one, so I'm not really sure. Has some Steve Ditko Creeper there, Batgirl, Hawkgirl. And more Superman photo albums. And you have a short Superman story, probably 5 or 6 pages, of Neil Adams' original pencils that never appeared anywhere else. And it has a place where you get autographs. So, there you have it, guys. This is ran a whole lot longer than what I wanted it to, but I wanted to get these finished up. And for those of you that tuned in and sat through the whole thing, I love you. But I love all you guys out there. So, like I say, this is just this series of videos are just for just probably a select few that are interested in DC Comics from the Bronze Age and comics history in general. I know we have a few fans out there, but this is just one that I was really proud to show, and I had a really good time doing it. So I want to thank all you guys for sticking around, and I'll see you next time. Onward and upward.